Hello, and welcome back to my small part of the universe. My name is Hailstone. Today, we are finally venturing into the abyss, and I have found a rather interesting subject from down there. So please, sit back, relax, and we shall begin. Oh, I recognize that look. You just came back from your first time down in the abyss, didn't you? Such a dark place isn't meant for the weak of will, or heart for that matter. It's a place that's best left avoided if not entirely ignored, and hope it doesn't see you as you pass by. Yet, there are many who claim they have braved its depths, and say that great treasures lay there, if you can slay the beast that lies within. A leviathan of true horror, a Charybdis is a massive creature almost solely native to the abyss, though the ranges of the creature sometimes do take it up near submarine routes. So if you hear its roar, turn off the sonar and switch on autopilot, and hope to God you get to the next station, or hopefully you're good at driving in the dark. The biology of the Charybdis. The Charybdis is a gargantuan creature, easily dwarfing most subs at least 125 feet long. Its jet black body and grayish coloration makes it right at home in the abyss. The length alone of the Charybdis' body is an indecipherable mess of tendril-like flesh wrapped around an inner core of a body, perhaps acting as either some form of insulation or a type of tear-away flesh to deter predators, such as perhaps the latcher. Among the tentacle-like flesh sits two colossal, broad, flat pectoral fins that the Charybdis uses in tandem with its tail for most of its propulsion. In addition to these fin/flippers, a pair of 5 slightly smaller fins, like that of the larger ones, sit just behind the hardened headplate of the Charybdis, giving it something almost akin to a lion's mane, if one were to look at it dead on. The most interesting feature of the Charybdis is its massive arrowhead-like tail. This massive flat plate is the main unit of propulsion of the Charybdis, allowing it to easily overtake most submarines. While it does look like it could be used like a weapon, due to its critical nature and function of the fin plate, it may be too liable to rip off if it's ever used in an aggressive manner, though this doesn't eliminate the possibility of it ever being used in the Charybdis' defense. The head of the Charybdis is made up of 2 large solid bone plates, making up something not unlike that of a helmet, comprising the upper part of the head and encircling the neck area terminating just before the Charybdis' mane. The rest of the bone plate has formed itself around the jaw of the Charybdis, which work together with strong muscles in the mouth to create a almost bear trap-like snapping motion of the jaw. The teeth of the Charybdis are sharp and jagged, capable of tearing and slicing large chunks of flesh with a single gulp. The teeth themselves seem to be a part of the same bone-like material covering the head, making the biting motion almost very similar to that of a mud raptor. The red coloration seems to be present on nearly every Charybdis I have come across, making it look like the beast has a bloody maw of sorts, possibly having just feasted on a submarine or some other unfortunate creature, though it is also likely that this is just the inner coloration of jaw and surrounding area, containing a red pigmentation like that of the red-toothed triggerfish, rather than being the remains of some other life form. Does it have eyes or a nose? This is a hard one to answer, as it's hard to get close, let alone kill a Charybdis, so studying one usually comes to a deadly answer. It's highly possible that the Charybdis has 2 large pitch-black eyes that are adjusted to catch any visible light in the dark depths of the abyss, though for what they are used for would be hard to say, though it might be likely that the Charybdis may use them to observe the highly volcanic seafloor. As well, it's also possible that the Charybdis uses this vision to hunt yet unseen bioluminescent titans in the abyss we have not encountered. And considering how empty the abyss can be compared to the upper levels, there is a good chance there are large creatures down there that have yet to pop up. In terms of these dark patches being a nose is quite likely as well, as eyes in the most sense would be fairly useless at such depths unless they are vestigial or they are highly specialized to track very specific prey. Whereas smelling with a nose at such depths would probably be more ideal to locate a wider range of prey rather than something specific. Although whether it is one or the other, I can't really say. though I will say I'm not going to be the one that is going to get up close and find out. Charybdis predation and feeding habits. Among one of the only large fauna that ventures up from the abyss for prey, the Charybdis is nearly at home in the upper tunnels as it is in the abyss. I would imagine there is little the Charybdis doesn't eat, though due to its size, it probably prioritizes fauna of larger sizes, ignoring mud raptors and crawlers in favor of hammerheads and molochs. One thing I haven't seen the Charybdis do, but I have heard rumors, is about a death roll, so to speak. When it grabs a large prey item like a moloch, if the large teeth aren't enough to subdue the prey, due to the numerous tentacles along the Charybdis's body, it may be capable of using them to roll and spiral, using the momentum to shred the prey apart, and may even use this technique against larger fauna like the endworm or the latcher, a common ancestor of the Charybdis and threshers. It's highly possible that due to the similar body types and even the jaws of the Charybdis and the threshers, that they both had a very specific distant ancestor that they both descended from, but ended up diverging when the evolutionary line of what would become the Charybdis began living in areas near or deep in the abyss and grew larger over time due to the large available space and thriving resources. Whereas the threshers that stayed in the tunnels ended up diverging into the bone and tiger threshers and ended up creating a cooperative nature in hunting packs. Final words and a personal log on the Charybdis. The Charybdis is a truly terrifying beast and one that is better avoided than fought. I mean, it truly is the apex predator of its environment, and this goes for the endworm as well. The abyss is nigh empty except for those two specimens, and occasionally a latcher slinking around. I can only imagine how they have enough food to sustain themselves at such depths, which may indicate a slow metabolism or possibly large amounts of fauna that we haven't seen or have records for yet. My most memorable encounter with this beast was almost hilarious, as we had traversed into a section of water that a Charybdis was using as its home, and as soon as we had heard its roar, we rushed out of there as fast as our little humpback could take us. Unfortunately, the Charybdis gave chase, and it rammed into the humpback just as we left the abyss, knocking it onto a small ledge. Alarms were blaring and the ship was flooding. At this point, I was waiting for the submarine to be sheared in half as the Charybdis made its next run at us. But aside from some heavy thuds and some form of tearing outside the sub, nothing happened. That was until the gunner started talking to us over the comms that the Charybdis was trapped under the submarine. You see, during its last charge, the Charybdis had managed to lodge itself between the cliff and the underside of the submarine, rendering the Leviathan unable to do much of anything, except blow out our headphones as it roared from just the floor below. Due to the angle it had wedged itself into, the coiled was thankfully enough to quickly dispatch the creature and get us out mostly scot-free. Thank you for listening to another one of my videos. I must apologize about the audio if it sounds any different than normal. Audacity had some form of update and it kind of reset a lot of my settings, leading to what feels like different to me, but not too different. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please have a great and safe week.